Hi everybody, Chef Greg here. It's summertime, so we've moved outside for this video. Today we're going to be making grilled yellowfin tuna served over a salad of summer vegetables with an agave soy vinaigrette. Okay, so we'll talk a little bit about our ingredients first. First thing we're going to do is make our vinaigrette. Very simple vinaigrette. We're going to start with a little bit of soy sauce. We're going to add a little bit of agave. Now, agave comes from the agave plant. It's very sweet and syrupy. It's used in place of honey a lot. Now, agave is really cool because if you take agave and you let it ferment, you get a drink that is called pulque, which is very similar to beer, and it's drunk down in Mexico. And if you take that pulque and you distill it, you get tequila. So we like agave very much. But in this case, we're just making a salad with it, okay? Then we're going to add a little bit of lime juice. Just squeeze it right in here. Okay. We're going to add a little bit of fresh ginger, okay? When you have fresh ginger, try and keep it as fresh as possible. Remember that slice it very thin and then mince it very thin. The reason you want to do that is ginger isn't something you really want stuck in your teeth other than that. If you don't feel comfortable mincing it this fine, you can always use a grater, or another fun thing to do is just to use pickled ginger, and it's a lot softer. Okay, so we're going to add a little bit of that to our mix. We're going to add just a touch of cilantro. Okay, now this cilantro doesn't look like what you saw in the supermarket. This came from our garden right over here. It's starting to flower a little bit. The funny thing is we didn't expect that to happen. This is actually last year's cilantro that came back. The cool news is it still tastes just fine. It's got a lot more stem to it. It's got a few flowers. We don't mind. So we're going to take some of that. I'm going to peel off some of the stems. If you get a little bit in there, it's fine. It's up to you. It's your food. And even some of the berries are in there. And the berries are fine. The seeds of cilantro, when dried, are called coriander. So that's your coriander seeds, same plant. We're going to give that a stir. Taste it. A little more lime. Now you'll notice when you see me cooking in these videos, you don't see a lot of measuring. That's because that's the way that I cook. But it's also just a really good way to get a feel for your ingredients. If you're following a recipe by the book every single time, you might have some consistency, but you won't really be exploring very much. So this is our dish, and we're going to be eating it. So we decide what we want it to taste like. Tomorrow we might feel differently. Okay, that's pretty good. Now, I'm going to take another bowl. We're going to add some of our ingredients. Today we're using jicama. Jicama looks like this. Not very attractive. Grows in tropical regions, usually down in Mexico, Central America. Jicama is really cool because once you take the cover off, kind of looks like a potato. It sort of tastes like a very mild apple. You can eat it raw, just like this, or you can actually cook it. Okay? The cool thing is, whether it's cooked or whether it's raw, it maintains the same texture. It's kind of like a water chestnut. The flavor isn't very strong, but the texture is really nice. So I have some here that's already julienned. Save us some time. Now we're going to add a little bit of carrot. Okay. Once again, julienne. When I say julienne, what I mean is food that is cut in a very long and thin strip, sort of like a matchstick, okay? Julienne is a really good way to cook for salads because it keeps things very consistent. You don't really want a big square chunk of carrot in your food. You also don't want it to be shredded because then you sort of lose some of the texture and flavor, okay? Carrot is a good one to add. Now, this is Swiss chard, okay? Here's another piece, okay? Swiss chard, if you're not eating Swiss chard, you really should be. Swiss chard is actually a member of the beet family, You can see this beautiful stem comes up out of the ground. There are actually some growing in our garden right now, so if you get some time, go take a look. It's very small, but by about the end of June, it'll be a lot nicer. It tastes like beets, but not quite as strong. It's basically a beet plant that doesn't grow a root, it just grows the leaves, okay? And we use the whole thing. So, the stem is quite good. It's actually got a little bit more flavor. It has a texture something like celery, okay? Don't waste the stem. The stem is really good. So we're gonna take it, and this is how we julienne, by the way. We just cut it into these thin strips, okay? I've actually got a little bit more here to save time. And then we take the leaves and we roll them up into a thin slice. So what I did here is I took the leaf and I rolled it like that, and then I take my knife and I'm slicing very, very thin. And what this is called, this cut, is called chiffonade, okay? Chiffonade basically means ribbons, okay? So we're cutting it into ribbons, but it's more fun if you say it in a fancy French way, okay? So we're gonna add some of this. And I've got a little bit more in here that I've already done, so we'll add some of that. Just for fun, we're gonna add a little bit of spinach, okay? Now, once again, keep in mind, you can add whatever you want. Residents and people will sometimes ask me for the recipe for something, and I'm always happy to give it to you, but you notice I'm not really using a recipe. I've been writing recipes for a long time. What I have learned over the years is recipes are highly dependent on what the chef has. So if you were to ask me, well, why did you use Swiss chard in this? And I would say a fancy answer like, oh, the tartness of the beets contrasts with the carrots. But the truth is I had a lot of Swiss chard and it's in season and it's really good. You know, you'll ask, well, what's the recipe for this, you know, tomato soup? Well, we use heirloom tomatoes. Well, we just happen to have a lot of heirloom tomatoes and that's why we used it. I like it that way. Most chefs do it that way, even if they won't admit it. So don't tell any chefs that I told you that, okay? So we've got all of our ingredients, and our last ingredient is just some shrimp. We got cooked shrimp here. We pulled the tails off, and these are literally the same shrimp that we use on our shrimp cocktails. I went and stole it from the station. We sliced them in half, and we're gonna slice them up a little bit more. You want it to be small enough to eat, but you don't want it to be so small that you can't tell. You pay a lot of money for shrimp. The bigger they are, the more they cost, so you don't really want to mince them up too fine, okay? Now, this is our yellowfin tuna, okay? Yellowfin tuna is absolutely delicious. It is usually cooked rare or medium rare when it's cooked at all. It's also an important ingredient in sushi. You can eat this raw. It's actually quite good. It's really delicious. As long as your ingredients are fresh, and this is very fresh, don't worry about it. It's really good. You can cook it all the way if you like. It's your food. In fact, when you're in the restaurant, you can just ask for it well done or medium well, but it does tend to dry out. Keep that in mind, which is the reason why people cook it a little bit on the rare side, okay? So we're gonna add a little bit of olive oil to it, okay? And we're gonna put it on the grill. Now, because we want it rare, it's not gonna cook for very long, okay? So really it takes, I would say, about a minute and a half to each side, okay? Let's let that go here. There's a couple of major varieties of tuna. There's amberjack tuna, there's bluefin tuna, there's yellowfin tuna. Albacore tuna is the one that we usually get our tuna fish from, okay? It's not as good fresh, it's a little higher in oil, okay? Bluefin tuna is actually one of the best. It's absolutely delicious. It's also absolutely endangered, so try and stay away from the bluefin tuna. Yellowfin tuna is still pretty healthily fished. It's very sustainable, okay? You can see it's already getting some marks here. We give it a little hash mark. Okay, and then we're gonna flip it over. All right, it can be as rare or as well done as you like, as I said. If it's done correctly and it's done rare, it should still be cool in the middle. One of the things you want to remember about rare, and medium is they might mean something different to you than they mean to the chef. So I'll just take this moment to explain what I mean when I say rare. Rare means very red and cool in the center, okay? Medium rare means still red in the center, but warm, okay? Medium means definitely warm and pink in the center. Medium well would mean just a touch of pink in the center and definitely warm. And well means well done, no pink, very well cooked. Have your food the way that you like it. The only caveat I'll say is it's a darn shame to cook things well when it's really, really good food, okay? All right, so now we're nearly done there. We're gonna take our vinaigrette and add it to our salad, okay? Stir it around a little bit. And this is our plate. As you can see, we're going to cut fresh herbs for you for your dinner tonight. Take a little bit of this salad, place it right on your plate. Okay. We're going to take our tuna. And just for fun, we're going to slice it. Okay. Lay that right here. Okay. As you can see, that's very rare. But when you have high quality ingredients, you want to show them off. And then also for fun, we're going to drizzle a little bit more of the dressing over the top. Okay. And that didn't take very long, and we have a beautiful dinner. Okay, this will be on the menu soon, so look for it. Thank you.